Hello Embrick students. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Miss Pepper. I'm one of the English teachers on school site. Those of you that know about me, I've been on social media a bit because I do a Harry Potter YouTube channel online. I've spent my time at home trying to learn how to get good, that's poor English, stuff online. Those of you that have been taught by me know that I'm pretty useless when it comes to anything technological. I have a funky visualizer, but it's all an illusion. I don't really know how to use it that well. I've been getting lots of tutorials every day by my other half on how to use stuff, so I just thought maybe it's time to put that to use. And something that is really highlighted over the last couple of weeks is that lots of you have never really been explicitly taught how to email people before. This is a key skill that you're going to need pretty much whatever career you end up venturing into, because you're going to have to email clients, potentially other members of staff in the companies that you work for. It's a really key skill. Some of you absolutely nailed it. I know that there's lots of people that have done everything that I'm going to go through today, have no problem whatsoever. I'm going to go through all the easy mistakes, some of which I know I make regularly. I will go through those as you'll see. This is just a little tutorial to go through everything that you need to know to email your teachers to make sure that you're doing it professionally in a really quick, easy lesson. So, first things first, this is what an email looks like. I'm very aware that if you've never had to regularly email before, you won't know necessarily what this looks like. It looks a little bit different to how you would WhatsApp, text, or Snapchat people. This is the older generation of communication. So, the first thing you need to do when you're opening an email is use an appropriate salutation, which is a really posh word for introducing the person you are going to talk to. So in this tutorial, I'm going to pretend I'm a year 10 student. I use examples from our year 10 remote learning work. It could apply with any subject, with any teacher. Okay, so I'm messaging Miss Lloyd. I'm in her class. I put Dear Miss Lloyd. You could put To Miss Lloyd. Any salutation that you choose, just make sure that you open it professionally and appropriately. I'll also, as a little side note, this is an English specific thing here, but it could apply to any subject. Miss Fife is setting all of the English work for everyone in all the different year groups, and she's getting a lot of work emailed to her, even though she doesn't necessarily teach those students. So please make sure. A lot of subjects will just be one person uploads all for all the subjects, so it's just easier and it doesn't crash show my homework as much. Make sure that you send it to the right person. So if I'm sending it to Miss Lloyd, in the little to box, there you go, oh, there you go, up here, I need to make sure that it says Miss Lloyd. I haven't annoyingly done it on this screenshot because I didn't want to accidentally send her a message. But on here, you need to make sure that you are sending it to the correct person. Okay? So, easy start. Make sure that you're sending it to the right person and that you've said hello to them. Make sure that you use a clear heading. It can be a little bit demoralising as a teacher when I open up my inbox and I have 60 messages and I'm not quite sure which ones are urgent and which ones are just marked work that I need to look at. And it ends up being that I open all these emails and then I'm not quite sure where to start or where to prioritise. If you desperately need help or there is just work submission, make sure your heading's really clear. So if you're just submitting work to your teacher, you could go work completion, geography hand-in, history hand-in, maths work completed. It could be any title that just makes it really clear. I'm going to do a couple of different scenarios during this, but for this example, I'm going to be talking about Year 10 Language Lesson 2, because that's the slide I was working on when I came up with this idea. Make sure that your clear heading is really clear so that the teachers know exactly what your email content will be about. Make sure that you state what you need from your teachers. So in this example, this person has handed in their week 2 language work. So they're just informing Mrs. Lloyd that they've completed all the work, there's been absolutely no problems. Lots of you are sending attachments, which is lovely, but there's no explanation until we open up the Word document or the PowerPoint document what the work is. So just to make it a little bit easier for everybody, we know exactly what this attachment would be the minute we've opened this email. Make sure that you state what you need from your teachers. It's okay if you're struggling. It's okay if you need some extra help. We're doing everything we can to provide extra help where we can, but you need to be really specific on what we need to help with. So for English, an example, we're sending for Year 10 PowerPoints that have maybe 12 different slides on them. which slide do you need help with? So make sure that you're struggling. So for example, I've put, I'm struggling to understand my homework. I've written my story so that the teacher knows that they've done so many slides, but I'm really struggling to mark it myself, because in English we mark our own work. Can you help me? Absolutely no problem. I now know, or Miss Lloyd will know as a teacher, that she just needs to give you some pointers to help with that marking process. We know exactly where to help you. It just makes our life a little bit quicker and getting you feedback quicker. Or you could phrase it like this. I'm struggling to understand my homework. I've written my story, but I can't get the link to work in slide number 4. Can you send it here or give me an alternative one, please? Bonus, I don't have to trawl through all the slides to try and figure out which slide that you're struggling with. Their work might have multiple links on it. I know exactly which link you need. I can then copy and paste it and send it over to you quicker, getting you help quicker so you can get on with your work, meaning that you have more free time to laze about in pyjamas, which is the end goal. Something like that would be ideal. Remember to be polite and professional. Remember that we kind of miss talking to you guys as well. It's really difficult to engage with classes and students over email because we don't get to see your faces or smiles or any kind of emotion, really. It's very dull, if that's the right kind of phrasing. So if you do fancy a chat with us, you'll feel free to more than do that. Be polite and professional, but you can still have a chat with us. Tell us about your day. So this person here has gone, I hope you're okay, miss. I'm missing our classes. That's really lovely to hear. We try in our emails, I know lots of different teachers are doing it, where we ask you how your day's been, ask you how the work's doing, what other stuff you're doing. It'd be really nice if you had a conversation going. It might make homework a little bit more interesting for you. Fantastic. Have a little chat with us. These are things that I have received. You will remain anonymous. But these are what not to do in an email. Try and avoid all caps. I completely understand. It's really frustrating, especially when you don't understand something and your teacher isn't there in person. Lots of you don't have mum, dad, or whoever's at home readily available to help you. And in fairness, if they do look at it, they might not necessarily understand straight away either. That must be super frustrating because you can't just turn around and ask your teacher for help. You have to send an email, then wait for a response. Please make sure that, as frustrated as you feel, you don't use all caps. It looks very angry and very shocking for anybody. We would never use all caps for you, so please don't use all caps for us. Make sure that you are grammatically correct. Don't let this beautiful young face elude you. I don't speak very good text speak. Make sure that all your spelling's correct. There are, as you can see, spell check in your emails, so there really is no excuse. Just make sure that everything makes sense, because sometimes it can be a bit tricky to decipher what you mean, especially if you've typed it in a bit of a rush or in a bit of a frustrated mood. We all want to help as much as we can, but make sure that if you're clearer, we can get to the help a little bit quicker. Now, I had to Google this because, again, beautiful face, illusion of youth. I thought our work was going to be basic. I assumed this meant simple, basic as in, I thought it was going to be easier. So I then sent work that was, in my opinion, a little bit easier. I adapted it a little bit. Basic doesn't mean that for anyone who doesn't know. Basic has two meanings. I'll leave you to explore the various meanings of basic. I've also had to Google tea. Someone said, Miss, I miss all of our tea. And I'm thinking, oh, I've never had a cup of tea with you. What on earth could you mean? Nonetheless, I quickly found out that tea has two meanings too. Please make sure that you're using an appropriate diction to speak to your teachers. Make sure that it's clear. Don't assume that because we're young, hip and cool, we necessarily understand your lingo. Not always the case. Make sure that you're trying to avoid those. Again, this is skills that you're going to need eventually in the future for whatever career or job you have, so try and keep it simple and to the point. If you have anything additional to say that isn't about the work or about what you previously mentioned, you can start another paragraph. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are feeling like you're struggling a bit, not necessarily about the work, it could be about anything, please do let us know. We're here to help. We are the same people we have always been. Instead, we're just in our own homes behind a computer screen. I'm desperate to help where I can. So, for example, I'm really struggling to find out what to do for lesson 2. I've completed the story at the beginning, but can you explain what to do on slides 4 and 5? Easy. Miss Lloyd is more than capable of jumping in and sorting out the help for this student. As a little aside, if you really want to have a chat, this person's thrilled because they've managed to find their copy of An Inspector Calls so they can start their literature work as well. Awesome! Who knew it would be at the bottom of their school bag? Try and make a joke, lighten the mood. Excellent. We're more than happy to help you with various different strands of homework. I know there's lots of different options of things for you to do. If you want to talk about more than one strand of work in one email, please do. Additionally, I've added another third line as well. If you do want to have a chat with us about something that isn't necessarily work related, I know people in my form, we've had lots of competitions. We've had a Create Your Meme competition, a Poor Dad Joke competition. If you want to have a chat with one of your teachers, you're feeling like you need a little bit of a chat from someone outside of your house, let us know how your day been. Ask us how our day has been. We're more than happy to have a chat and hopefully make you feel a bit more normal in what is a very abnormal situation. Do double check your work. I am guilty of this. I have done this week with every single one of my classes. So this is me learning from my mistakes and therefore teaching you so that you don't eventually make them. Feel all free to have a laugh now. This is the same email that I pretty much had on the last screen. But remember, if you are sending us work, remember to include the attachment. I frequently forget to include the attachment. So this is what it should look like. If you have included it, it will pop up here as a little addition before you send it. So it will pop up so you'll know it's attached itself successfully. To attach it, you click on the little paper clip at the top here, and then you just drop down and click it off of your desktop or documents or wherever it is on your computer. You can just attach it there. Lots of people are sharing via SharePoint as well. You're more than welcome to do that as well. Fabulous. If you don't have access to a computer and you're just sending us a picture or you've handwritten your work, that's absolutely fabulous too. It won't appear underneath the subject heading over here. It will just appear within the body of the email. That's absolutely fine. We're more than happy with that as long as you make sure that you've attached it or make sure you've added the picture. Absolutely fantastic. So on step number 7, you can just double check that you've attached it if you said you have. I know some email systems do remind you if you've used the word attached. So I have used the word attached here. So hopefully it'll give me a little reminder before I send it saying you've mentioned the word attached. Have you attached it? Or you could just do what I did earlier and ignore this and just send it anyway and then have to send an embarrassing email after going, sorry guys, I've now attached it. There we go. Make sure that your spelling's correct. Again, it might be a bit confusing. I know I'm a poor speller. I sometimes get my spellings mixed up. I always tend to quickly reread an email before I send it just to make sure that my point is clear and I've said everything I need to say. Sign off your email before you send it. You could use a variety of things. I tend to use best wishes because that's the one I prefer. You could use kind regards, thank you miss, or hope to see you soon, sincerely. Any one of those would be appropriate for your teachers and various different members of staff if you are emailing those as well. That's the last thing you need to do before you're signing off. And then I have put underneath my name so that Miss Lloyd knows exactly what I want from her. It's very clear, it's clearly laid out. I've made sure I've attached it, all my spelling is correct, and I've had a little chat with Miss Lloyd because I feel like I want to have a little bit of communication with her outside of work. That is how you send an email online. I know it sounds silly and it might come off a little bit patronising for those of you that are 100% A-OK, but I was quite surprised with the level of TikTokers, etc. You all know how to upload stuff on YouTube, therefore you should be great at this. But just in case you've never had to do this before, and I'm not surprised some of you in year 7 and 8 would ever have really had to send lots of emails before, this is just a quick tutorial to let you know what to do. Hopefully you found it useful. If not, lovely talking to you anyway. See you later.